The All-Star break ends tomorrow, and we all need pitching. That's why today we've got a couple two-start pitchers for you and some streaming options coming up next.
It's about that time.
Stoned on Sports.
How's it going, everybody? You're tuned in to Stoned on Sports Fantasy Baseball. My name is Matt. Got the awesome co-host Kyle here with me today as well. And this week has been kind of a tough task to isolate some of these two-start pitchers. There's a lot of teams that really haven't announced their rotation starting out tomorrow and through the weekend. So we've done our best to give it an educated guess in an effort to help you guys out and set you up for success going into the second half. Kyle, how the hell's it going, brother?
Going great. Yeah, it was a little anxiety, a little painstaking process trying to find some guys for you, but we got 8 guys for you. I'll just get it started. How about that? Thanks for everybody that's joining us in the chat right now. Appreciate it. Our first guy we got for you is Yusei Kikuchi from the Toronto Blue Jays. He is 52% owned on Yahoo. I like him not for 2 starts, but just a stream versus Texas, most likely on Friday, the 26th. He is the number 32 starting pitcher on the season. His last outing before the break versus Arizona was not good. 4 2/3, 6 hits, 7 earned, 1 home run, 3 walks, 6 Ks in a no decision. So, that was pretty bad, but his start before that was much better. That's the one where he was lasted over 7, just 2 earned, 13 strikeouts, no walks. Unfortunately, it was also a no decision. On the year, he's got 20 starts total. He's 4-8, 106 innings pitched. His ERA is over 4 at 4.42, WHIP at 1.30. xFIP is over a run less than his ERA, so some bad luck involved. Strikeout rate is very good. He's a strikeout pitcher. He's at 26%. He has 117 Ks in the first half. He is on pace to beat his career high of 181 last season. Walk rate, this guy just strikes out guys and doesn't walk anybody. He's below 6. That's above average. He's really helped those rates by throwing first pitch strikes almost 4% higher than the league average. Swing and miss, above average in the whiff rate. His slider and his changeup really do most of the heavy lifting there. However, his chase rate is below average. Checking back last year, he was above average last season, so I'm not sure what's happened with that. Pretty fast velo for his fastball. He's over 95 miles an hour, puts him in the 77th percentile. He also throws a curve, slider, and changeup. And so I've talked about it before, but with that high velocity, Kikuchi follows Newton's third law of motion, gets hit hard as shit, and really always has. So hard hit rate, exit velo, barrels are all in the bottom 9%. All of them are actually 9% or lower among pitchers in the league. Pretty horrible. So what's one of the repercussions of that can happen to pitchers with that? Homers allowed. So his home runs per 9, it's kind of high. It's at 135. He's had 16 allowed or gave up 16 dongs this year. And he's really always allowed too many in his career, but it's even worse this year, helped by an increase in his launch angle and his fly ball rate. And some more concern, if you followed him, I had him rostered for a little while. I probably dumped him a month ago or so, and I had him last year on and off for a while, but he always would give up a lot of hits, and that really hasn't changed in his starts this year. Out of his 20 starts, 10 of them, he has given up 6 or more hits. But looking at his contact rates, hasn't hurt him too bad. He's less than average on contact rates, whether it's in or out of the zone. So let's look at that matchup. Like I said, versus Texas, it's at home. Toronto, that's the Rogers Center there. Used to be a hitter's park. They changed the dimensions, what was it, a few seasons ago? 2, 3, 4? Might be longer, something like that. So it's more skewing towards a pitcher's park now. Texas in the last 15 days before the break, middle of pack in hits, 14th in run, 17th in OPS. Definitely not the offense that we saw them have last season. So I like him for this start. Another little added tidbit. put him on your watch list. Anybody that high strikeouts and them low walks, he is a candidate to get traded this year, as he is a free agent after the season. So Toronto's not been good this year, so he could actually get sent to a contender and be pretty good for the fantasy playoffs.
Agree wholeheartedly.
Anything in the chat there, bud?
No.
All right. Okay. Next up, Matt's turn here. So this Cardinals hurler had a rough outing before the All-Star break, but is looking to regroup the juicy matchup next week. Matt, tell us more about Kyle Gibson.
And I've said this before. Generally, I'm a little bit leery of starting dudes named Kyle, but here we are. He's got that start against Washington at home, and Washington's been a mid-pack team with very little power. But as we've discussed before, they put the ball in play a lot. He's had a rough go of it lately, allowing 4 earned runs in 3 of his last 4 starts. But on the season, he started 18 games. He's 7-3 with a 4.16 ERA. His FIP is at 4.20. Nice. And his xFIP is at 3.91. He's got a 136 whip, struck out 96, walked 41. He's been taken yard 13 times across 101 and 2/3 innings pitched. And if I had to describe him in one word, it would be average. It seems like this dude is pretty much average at everything. That said, he's actually having his best season since 2019 at age 36. Some people just age kind of well, right? He's getting more strikeouts than I think anybody expected from him coming into the season. He's generally been well below average in that regard. His 22.3% strikeout rate is a little bit better than average, and his 8.5 Ks per 9 is dead on league average. It's backed up by 11.2% swinging strike rate and a 28% whiff rate, which is actually in the top 30%. Kind of surprising coming from this dude. Walks, on the other hand, are headed in the opposite direction. He's giving up free passes at the second highest rate of his career, right around 9.5%. And his 3.63 walks per 9 is up a full walk from last season. He's got a 57.2% first pitch strike rate, and that certainly isn't helping things out either. That said, he's got a contact rate under 74%. And although his 87.1% zone contact rate is a little bit higher than average, it's not terrible. I can live with that. The quality of that contact is kind of a mixed bag. His exit velocity is pretty good at 88.3. His hard hit rate is roughly average. There's that word again at 39.5. But the barrel rate, that is damn rough. Real rough. 10% flat. Like, that's just not great. And that puts him near the bottom of the league. However, he's got a 5.2% weak contact rate, which is well better than league average, which currently sits at 3.9%. And it's the best mark in a full season of his entire career. Taking a gander at his batted ball profile, there's a bit to like. Though his 48.5% ground ball rate is a couple points below his career average, it's still better than league average. His fly ball rate is roughly league average at 24%, but well higher than his career norms. And his line drive rate is almost 2 points better than average. Keep saying that damn word. All these stats and numbers aside, we know we can rely on him for one thing above all else. That dude is going to give you innings. He's gone at least 5 innings in 15 of his 18 starts, and he's gone at least 6 in 11 of those starts, including 8 quality starts. I think he can do a pretty damn good job against Washington. Like I said, they put the ball in play quite a bit. They don't strike out much. They don't walk much. They're a pesky team. I don't think I'd go so far as to say they're a good team either, though. Give him a shot. It's one start. I think he's got a damn good shot at a quality start going out there as well.
Heck yeah. Good stuff there, man.
All right. Luis Ortiz, this Pirates pitcher, has recently been moved from the pen to the rotation, and he's responded with 2 quality starts in his first 3 starts and has only allowed 3 earned runs total. Tell us why he's worth a look next week, Kyle.
Well, yeah. So you mentioned that he moved from the bullpen to the rotation. He's really dominated in those 3 starts. He's the 138th pitcher in fantasy on the season. But since taking the role, because he had, relief appearances, of course, but since taking on that starting role June 26, he has been starting pitcher number 29 in fantasy. His most recent start before the break was against the lowly White Sox. 5 2/3 inning pitched, 4 hits allowed, 1 earned, 1 walk, and 5 Ks. Pretty solid. Worth noting in that start, his fastball averaged at 97.1. That's just the second time since the start of the 2023 season he's averaged out over 97. On the season, he's got 25 appearances, 3 of them starts. Like we said, he's 4-2 on the year, 66 2/3 innings pitched. ERA is under 3, and the whip's pretty good at 116. Strikeout rate, it's at 20.7 on the year. Right now, that is below average. But since, again, that first start on the 26th, he's just shy of 29%. So he's made some strides. Walk rate, same thing, too. Some nice improvement. 6.9%. It's above average. And a major improvement over his 12% walk rate he had last season. And again, since June 26th, he has the 6th best walk rate in baseball. 1.4%, Matt. That's super
nice.
Good. So overall, his arsenal, his stuff looks 10 times better than last season. Fastball velo is at 95.5. It's in the 77th percentile. His sinkers gained nearly 3 inches of vertical break too, while maintaining similar velocity from last year. His sliders also gained about 2 inches of horizontal movement, and he's effectively incorporated a cutter into his arsenal in the offseason. That cutter, 25 pretty average when it comes to getting hit hard. His hard hit rate on the season is 38.5%. But since, again, June 26, when he became a starter, he's the 12th best pitcher since then at 31.4%. Much, much better. His exit velocity, while just slightly below average on the year, has also improved since taking on that starting role. 14th best rate of just under 87 miles an hour, and his barrel rate follows the same pattern too. It's like flipping a switch since this guy went from the pen into the rotation. Been pretty nice. Hasn't fell victim to the long ball. Home runs per 9 innings is just 0.41. Probably a lot to do with his excellent above average ground ball rate. And his line drive rate is very impressive too, at just 19%, over 3% better than the league average. So I like him to stream there on the most likely the 25th there at Arizona. Arizona's been pretty good before the break, 6 in OPS, second in runs scored in the last 15 days. But I'm really confident and rolling with Ortiz out there. His ability to minimize damage, maintain that decent strikeout rate, I think adds, a layer of dependability for fantasy managers, especially in roto formats, valuing ERA and WHIP. And then his consistency as a starter can't really be overlooked in points leagues either, where innings and strikeouts are premium. So pick him up.
Pick his ass up.
Pick his ass up. Okay, we're headed to Detroit. This Detroit Tigers pitcher dazzled in his first couple starts in July, but got torn up by the vaunted Dodgers lineup in his last start before the break. Matt, how can Keider Montero help managers next week?
He did get torn up by the Dodgers, but I do just want to point out for our audience there and those in the chat that the Tigers did take 2 out of 3 from those Dodgers. So
yes,
we gave them one.
Yep. Sorry,
next week he's got to start against the Twinkies, and they've cooled off a bit, right? After a great run is probably the best offense in the league. They've fallen back to roughly mid-pack over the past couple of weeks, which is fine. Montero's made 5 appearances this season, 4 starts and 1 relief appearance. He's been in the rotation since the beginning of the month, making 3 of his 4 starts, with 2 of them being quality starts. He got touched up by the Dodgers, but there's no shame in that. They're a halfway decent team. On the season, he's 1-2 with an ERA of about 5.5. His expected ERA and xFIP are about a run lower, though, somewhere around league average. He's got a 137 whip. He struck out 23, walked 10, and 26 1/3. Anytime I can get close to a strikeout an inning, I'm happy, and he's nearly there. He's got a 20.5% strikeout rate, and he's striking out about 8 per 9. He's also got a really nice 12% swinging strike rate, and he's got a 29% called plus swinging strike rate. And with that stat, that really shows just how effective a pitcher can be in throwing strikes. And when you're near 30%, that's damn good. And you certainly can't be mad at his 27% whiff rate. That's not bad. His walks, they're a touch high. He's sitting at an 8.9% rate, which is just a little bit above league average, and he's walking about 3.5 per 9. It's not new, though. He's struggled with that at times in the minors as well. I do want to point out that he was an international signing, and the dude hit rookie ball at just 16 years old. And last year, he pitched across 3 levels before making his debut this season at just 23. Moving to his quality of contact, it's kind of impressive. Hard hit rate's really good at 35%. Barrel rate's about league average at 7.8, and his exit velocity is 88.9. Those are all just fine, especially when you're talking about I don't want to call him a no-name rookie, but people weren't really rushing to add him when he got called up. From an overall contact perspective, he's allowing contact less than 75% of the time, and his zone contact, while it's a touch high at 87.5, is tolerable. It'd be nice if he would induce some weak contact, though, because right now his weak contact rate is 0. Moving to the other side of my notes here, batted ball profile is pretty much on par with major league average across the board, but he does get pulled a bit. So just kind of keep an eye on his fly ball rate. We always talk about lift and pull here, and that's where a lot of power comes from. If it starts to rise, we could see him give up more home runs, and he's already been bitten by the long ball 5 times this year. That said, pitching at Comerica Park is going to help negate that a little bit. Overall, I think there's a good amount to like with him, and especially given what Chris Fetter has done with the rest of that rotation, good things should be ahead. Honestly, he's not somebody you're going to run out there regardless of who he's facing. And if you were dumb enough to start him against the Dodgers, you got exactly what you asked for. But if you play the matchups correctly, paying attention to the team and what stadium he's pitching in, he can be a damn nice fantasy asset for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm really high on him.
You're high on something.
High on something.
All right. So despite a sub-4 ERA and getting better than a strikeout per inning, this Rangers pitcher leads the league in losses with 10. Is Andrew Heaney bad? Is he unlucky? And can we count on him next week?
Yeah, he's just inconsistent, really throughout his career. So, he's really teased fantasy owners, myself too, plenty of times in the past. And while he has no illusions of, I have no illusions of him being a frontline starter, he's pitched well enough to catapult his way back onto fantasy radar. So overall on the year, starting pitcher number 59, not horrible, a little bit better since June 1st. He's starting pitcher number 23, so made some improvements. Last start before the All-Star break was versus Houston. 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned, 2 home runs allowed, 2 walks, and 5 Ks, and a no decision. And what I like to point out is that is now his last 14 starts, 3 earned runs or fewer in all of them. So, which is a new career high for him. So I really like that, especially for points leagues. On the season, he's had 19 appearances, 18 of them starts. He's 3-10, as Matt mentioned, the double-digit loss. 95 innings pitched, ERA's under 4, WHIP is at 125. Strikeout rates above average, just slightly under 24%. And you wonder, pitchers with strikeout rates are normally this high, are normally rostered. So what makes him so flawed? Why isn't he rostered more? First and foremost, like I mentioned, he's just really unable to move past the inconsistencies on a start-by-start basis, limiting his fantasy upside. So it could go well. It could go bad. Walk rate is nice in the 6s, above average. And just like Kikuchi, Andrew Heaney gets hit pretty damn hard. Average exit velocity, hard hit rate are both in the bottom third or pitchers. However, his barrel rate is pretty solid. Where he excels is in the swing and miss game, has an above average whiff rate, but where he is really good is getting hitters to chase almost 33% of the time. That puts him in the 86th percentile among pitchers in the league. He works with a 4-pitch mix, 4-seamer, slider, change, and a curve. And his sliders has been pretty impressive. 20.1 swinging strike rate and a 43.4% chase rate. He's getting batters to swing out the zone. Javi Baez would love that pitch. And with that pitch, that slider, those are all career marks on those numbers. So fastball velo's not super great. It's just 91.5, and it is down a tick this year, but he's had a couple outings this season where he's touched 93 miles an hour with hitters batting just 220 on the year versus his fastball. However, he's got a very high launch degree and fly ball rate versus the fastball this season. So fly balls are the batted ball type that is least likely to land for a hit. We've talked about it before. So it's not a bad approach by Heaney to lean into that fly ball ability. But, what's the biggest drawback? That's right. Home runs. I mentioned during his last start, he allowed 2. That puts him at 14 on the year. His home runs per 9 is 1.33. That's actually his best homer rate since 2020. But it's still higher than you'd like to see. Let's see. Matchups. No. Yeah, matchups. This is one of our 2 starts. Chicago. I don't think I got to go too much into that, really. The last 15, they've been pretty much bottom 5 in everything. And in the top 12 for strikeouts. So you roll pretty much anybody against the White Sox. Toronto's not been a very good team offensively either. In the last 15 days, they're 21st in OPS, tied for 19th in runs, middle of the pack in RBIs, 23rd in walks, but they don't strike out much. So I like that start at Toronto, more of a pitcher's park now. I think he's still a fringe fantasy asset in mixed leagues. His stuff, that fastball slider combo, still looks solid, and it's capable. It's shown that he can produce outs. So he's an interesting streamer thanks to his ability to get, the strikeouts. I think he's a great option next week.
I think so too. And a lot of times for pitchers, really the key to success is that start after start after start consistency. And that's what separates the good from the not so good from the guys who are quad A players.
Right. Agreed. Okay. Next, this Orioles hurler is back in the majors after spending some time overseas and is having a very surprising year. Matt, tell everyone more about Albert Suarez.
Yes, sir. So this dude, he's got that dual eligibility, just like Heaney. You can run him out there in a starter slot or reliever slot.
Yeah.
He's got starts at Miami and home against San Diego. Excuse me. At this point in the season, we know all about the Marlins' offensive struggles. Their offense is kind of offensive. And the bonus is the game is there in Miami. The Padres have been the lowest scoring team in baseball over the past couple weeks, ironically tied with Baltimore, scoring just 30 runs. They do a good job of putting the ball in play, though, with the second fewest strikeouts and the second fewest walks over that span. On the season, Suarez is 5-3 with a 2.82 ERA. His FIP's about 3/4 of a run higher. XFIP's about 2 runs higher. So there's a good bit of luck involved in that number. He's got a 123 whip, struck out 55, walked 25 in 70 1/3 innings pitched. He moved from the pen, but 12 of his 19 appearances have been starts. So he's getting settled in there. And he's been on a bit of a hot streak as well. He's got quality starts in 2 of his last 3 appearances. I really wish the dude struck out more batters, though. And if you've been with us here, pretty much all season, you'll notice that, look, guys who strike out a lot of batters generally are not available on waivers. And, they've all kind of got some warts. This dude's strikeout rate is low at 18.5%, striking out 7 per 9. That said, he's shown he can give you a strikeout per inning in any given start. It's just trying to figure out which starts those are going to be. His swinging strike rate isn't bad at all. It's at 10.3%, but his called strike rate is quite low at just 12.1. And that's a big contributing factor to why you don't see the strikeout numbers coming from him. Whiff rate also pretty low at just 23.2. His walk rate is pretty much league average at 8.4%, walking just over 3 per 9. He's kind of feast or famine with that, though. He's issued just 3 free passes across his last 3 starts, and that is over 17 innings pitched. His quality of contact is pretty damn good. Exit velocity is roughly average at 88.8. Hard hit rate's a little bit better than average at 37.9, and his 5.1% barrel rate is outstanding. His weak contact rate is also good at 4.7%. That's about a point better than league average. From an overall perspective, he allows more contact than most, but not really by a lot. His contact rate's at 79 flat. And really, when I'm looking at pitchers, if you keep it under 80% from, overall, I'm happy with it. Or at least I can deal with it anyway. Zone contact is a little bit high as well at 86.6. Looking at his batted ball profile, he's a fly ball pitcher that gives up quite a few line drives. He's going to get helped out by that ballpark in Miami, and he's got a good defense behind him as well. He's definitely not a Ronco set it and forget it type of pitcher, so you will need to play the matchups. Baltimore might be struggling to score now. Like I mentioned just a moment ago, they're tied with San Diego as the lowest scoring team over the past couple of weeks, but that does not last, and that could change as soon as this week. Regardless, he's got a great shot to give you a couple quality starts and maybe even a win or two. I think he's definitely worth an ad given the matchups and again, the defense behind him, the offense that can support him.
Awesome. Love it. We got a question in the chat from HPHP. Said he glad he caught us. Jacob Wilson's getting the call. Yeah, it just got announced about 20 minutes ago. Shortstop for Oakland. Getting the call up there. Would you drop Noel for him or Jared Jones? I don't think I would drop Jared Jones.
I'm not dropping Jared Jones.
No.
It really your team context is going to play a big role in that. What do you need? Noel's going to give you a shit ton of power, and he's going to give you a batting average in the low 200s with an on base that's not going to be a whole hell of a lot better. So It really just it's going to depend on what your team needs are.
For sure. And Max Schumann's not been playing horrible there at short for them. I think he's been playing short, so I don't know. Jacob Wilson, Jack Wilson's son, played in the majors. I don't know, a decade or something.
Do you remember him? I do not.
Okay, good question, HP. Good luck with that. We got James. What's up, James? Coffee. Week-to-week cat league, roster crunch at pitcher. If need be, which SP would you drop? Taj, Gray, or Blake Snell?
Taj Bradley. Sonny Gray has been outstanding this year. Taj Bradley is good, but he is much better at home than he is at home. He's friggin' elite. And Blake Snell, we just talked about him, I don't know, a week, 10 days ago, something like that. Blake Snell in the second half of seasons is Cy Young Blake Snell.
For sure. And you love that ground ball, right?
Yep. Bradley's the odd man out there in that one, James.
Yep. Good luck, James. Great question, man. Thanks everybody for getting in here and chatting with us today. It's awesome. We love this. Okay. What do we got left? Me?
So, though this Diamondback pitcher's season-long numbers kind of look like ass, he's coming off back-to-back quality starts to finish out the first half. Can Ryne Nelson be an asset for us next week?
Yeah, I think he's good. He's got a nice matchup. I recommend streaming versus the Pirates. And after an inconsistent June, he's really settled down in July. He is starting pitcher over 100 on the year, but since July 1st, he's number 32. Last start before the break was versus Toronto. Had a nice one, no decision, but 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, 3 earned, no walks, and 5 Ks. On the season, he's appeared in 17 games, 15 of them starts. He's 6-6, 86 innings pitched. ERA's just under 5, and the whip's high too at 142. His FIP, xFIP are lower than the ERA, so seeing a little bit of bad luck as well. One of Nelson's biggest issues comes from his lack of a strikeout pitch, a strikeout arsenal, really. Overall strikeout rate is just at 15.6%. It's in the bottom 6 in the league and nearly identical to his number last year. He gets strikeouts with his fastball, but none of his off-speed or breaking pitches have a strikeout rate above 8%. That's fugly. Walk rate, excellent, 5.3%. Among all pitchers with at least 80 innings pitched this season, his rate is the 14th best in the majors out of 103 pitchers. Pretty damn good. And he's made an improvement on that walk rate versus last year by over 2%. Fastball velo, it's above average at 95. Plus, it's up over a mile an hour year over year. In fact, really, all his pitches are up year over year in terms of velocity. Nelson tends to go bombs away, I'll say, with his fastball, throwing it hard, but keeping it over the plate for hitters. And he consistently gets gets hit hard and strike that.
Oh,
Redo.
nope, we're live, buddy.
Consistently gets hit hard and struggles to put guys away. Average exit velocity and hard hit rate are in the bottom 37% or worse. But he has improved both versus last year. I'm not even looking at the live chat. I don't even want to see it. Does an average job of getting hitters to chase, but generating whiffs is not his thing. Whiff rate is putrid at just 18%. He's in the bottom 4% among pitchers in the league. Good at not allowing home runs. It's a 1.04 per 9, and that has a lot to do with a nice ground ball rate of 42.6. Matchup. So stream him against Pittsburgh. Now Pittsburgh's been pretty good the last 15 days before the break. They're top 10 in most stats that mattered, but I'm not letting a recent surge in stats there stop me from starting him, as Pittsburgh just hasn't been very good the other part of the season. So I think Ryne's trending in the right direction, and he's a good option in deeper leagues next week. All right. Elephant in the room. Matt can't stop laughing.
Oh, shit.
What's
That
in the
was a good
chat? Oh, nobody got it. All right. What do we got here? Do we got a question from Lewis? No.
No, he's just popping by to say what's up. We got Dewan with a question, though. What's the difference between a snowman and a snow woman? And we are all anxiously awaiting the answer to that.
Yes, we are. All right. One more pitcher, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. This 22-year-old Giants lefty has one of the better fastball run values in the league and has a nice matchup next week versus a weak Rockies team. Matt, tell everyone more about Kyle Harrison.
Another damn Kyle.
Yep,
I swear, you guys are just friggin' everywhere.
Best name on the planet.
Well, let's slow your roll there, buddy. All right. So, yep, he's a great stream candidate with his home start against Colorado because they have been a bottom 10 scoring offense, and they have the second most strikeouts over the past couple of weeks. On the year, dude's 5-4 with a 4.08 ERA. His FIP and XFIP are both within a half a run, so that's probably a good indicator of just exactly who he is. He's got a 136 whip, struck out 73, walked 27 across 86 innings pitched, and he's got quality starts in 7 of his 16 starts. He's in his sophomore season, and a lot of times you'll see a sophomore slump, and I don't necessarily know that I would call it a slump, but we've seen some regression in some things. In particular, his strikeout numbers. He went from a 23.8% strikeout rate last year, and a strikeout per inning this season. He's under 20% with his rate and striking out just 7.5 per 9. That's not exactly great. His swinging strike rate's about a 1.5 below average at 9.2%, and his whiff rate is in the bottom third at just 22.7. He is helping himself out, though, by limiting his walks. He's about a 1.5 better than average with a 7.3% rate, walking less than 3 per 9, which is where we want folks to be. So I'll take it. It's actually surprising considering his first pitch strike rate is pretty bad at just over 56%. Quality of contact is rough. I'm not going to lie to you guys. His exit velocity, hard hit rate, and barrel rate are all in the bottom 10% of the league. And I lost my place. Oh, there we go. He does get helped out, though, by a halfway decent defense behind him and one of the best pitchers parks in the game. not unlike his quality of contact, his overall contact numbers aren't the greatest either. Contact rates just under 81%, and his zone contact rates over 87.5%. He's not really fooling many batters either, as evidenced by his chase rate that sits just over 25.5%. He is more of a fly ball pitcher. And we've seen some changes to his batted ball profile between last year and this year. His ground ball rate is up 14 points to 41%. Fly ball rate's down 8 points to 28.5, although it's still a bit higher than norm. But again, remember, fly balls have the lowest expected batting average out of, fly ball, line drive, ground ball. His line drive rate is down as well to a better than average 23.6%. So not too bad. I know it sounds like I just dog a shit out of this dude, but when it comes to streaming pitchers, for me, it's an equation, right? You're looking at the pitcher themselves, but you also want to look at their opponent. You want to look at where the game is being played. If this was in Colorado, it would definitely be a no-go. But just looking at that Rockies offense, outside of maybe one or two guys, there isn't really anyone that instills fear in me. Just considering that home ballpark, he's shown flashes of being a damn good pitcher, especially early in the season. It seemed like he was just pumping out quality start after quality start. I think he's got a damn good shot to do the same against Colorado next week. And he's going to give you some innings. He's very capable of going out there and giving you 6-7 innings and allowing just a couple runs. And who knows? Maybe it's one of the games where he strikes out 6 in 6 innings and sure. With 0 or 1 walks. And now all of a sudden you're looking at a pretty damn good start.
Absolutely. We got a question in the chat from, it's way up here now. No. Where is it? I lost it. Do you see it? Oh, HP, my bad. Geloff, Horwitz, or Wilson for 5x5 on base percentage, Roto? And best, we'll just do one question at a time. Which Wilson? I'm not thinking clearly. Do you know which Wilson?
I'm not sure. Considering it's an on-base percentage league, I'm going to go with Horwitz there. He's been outstanding in that regard. Geloff has been very, very inconsistent this season. And Wilson, I'm not sure exactly who you mean there, but I doubt he's doing better than Horwitz at getting on base. And then between Bobby Miller and
Jacob Wilson, the rookie. I would. Yeah. Who knows what's going on with that? I mean, I would. Yeah, I agree with Horwitz as well. What you think about the second question? Stash rest of season, Bobby Miller or Jared Jones? That's a good one.
I think Bobby Miller is going to be back in the show sooner rather than later. He came back from injury and didn't necessarily look all that great. And while I'll never miss an opportunity to shit on a Dodgers pitcher just because that team is so damn good, I think just given the overall team context, Pittsburgh's been doing decent lately. And I can't remember off the top of my head what the timeline is for Jared Jones coming back. I'm going to go with Bobby Miller there.
Okay. Good stuff. So Matt, I'll give you a would you rather really quick because we're wrapped up here. A mermaid. So you can have a mermaid with a human top half and a mermaid bottom half, or you can have it the other way around. What do you choose? Let us know in the chat, fellas, what you guys might choose there. It's a toughie. It really is.
Well,
what do you like more?
For all of my years on this earth, I have been a boob man. There have been times where I've been tempted by some better behinds, but as things stand at the moment, the needle still points towards top half.
Okay. Let us know in the Supersonic says both need water, and Hugh said
Dewan says bottom.
Yep. Better behinds, Kelsey says. Yes.
I mean, there is something to be said for a few of those magical behinds that are out there that can, convert fellas like myself. But
right.
We'll see.
Kelsey, I asked the fellas in the chat if they could get a mermaid or if had a chance with a mermaid. Would you rather have a human top half and a mermaid fish bottom half, or vice versa? So we're having a good time with that. It looks like we got Lewis in the chat. He got Robert Jr. and sent Paredes the other way, hoping Jr. gets traded. He has Skeens too. He's been good. Would it be an even trade if I got Tucker in return for Skeens and maybe Kit? Ooh, that's too much. I think that's too much.
I'm not really keen on trading away Paul Skeens.
You traded for Tucker this year, I believe.
I sure did.
Recently.
I sure did. And we don't even have a clear timeline on when he's going to be back. So you're trading away the NL All-Star starter, and just hoping that Tucker comes back in time to make a big impact on your team.
That's true.
I understand, no risk it, no biscuit, right? If you're going for it, go for it. But you've also got to be smart about what you're doing. And right now I'm not letting Skeens go.
I agree. That's a good. He's so good. He reminds you so much. I mean, what's he only had 10 starts, 12, 11, something like that. And for me personally, he reminds me so much of Nolan Ryan. Like he just has that presence. So let's see. Is the mermaid poll question getting viewers? Probably not. I was just trying to kill some time at the end of the show. And then we had a couple questions pop up and it happens, but we are going to get out of here, folks. Yeah, it is. I just thought, I'd like to do something funny in here. Yeah, I wasn't trying to be not include you, Kelsey, because I was asking the dudes in the chat, but you apparently disappeared. So, where's your what's the word I'm looking for?
I have no idea.
I don't know either. We're going to get the hell out of here. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, everyone. Don't miss out on us. Matt was supposed to put it on the screen, but he still sucks at this. Our fantasy football YouTube, our next live stream is this Sunday. I'll drop the link in the chat on our YouTube channel for fantasy football this Sunday, the 21st at 7 p.m. We're doing our QB fantasy preview. We're available on Spotify, Apple, and more. Have a great day, everyone. Stay stoned.
See you, folks.